Hello and welcome to A Celtic World, a YouTube channel and podcast made by Celtic fans worldwide for Celtic fans worldwide. From Bishop Briggs to Brondby, Hamilton to Highbury, wherever you happen to be watching from, you're very much part of A Celtic World. And look at the stellar lineup we have today for you. Stephen in Australia. Stephen's there and he's always there. What about you?
Yes, Gav, I'm here, ready to go into battle for I'm sure it'll be a hectic discussion on transfer windows and all the associated stuff. So yeah, looking forward to
it. Monday night regular, semi-regular David in Bangkok. What up, David?
Yeah, all good. Yeah, enjoyed the game last night, 10 p.m. Bangkok time. So yeah, the pub was open, quite busy, good turnout and a good result.
Certainly was, and it's a good result for all to see Brian joining us on a Monday. Hello, Brian.
Hello, Gav. Good to be here. Yeah, I got dropped from the Thursday show, so hopefully I'll be able to continue with
You'll find the standard much lower here, Brian. Don't worry.
That's what I thought. I thought Stephen was going to jump in and say, "Don't you mean promoted? Monday is
promoted. Yeah. I think that I was going to join the drink along, but there's only, that say about three's a crowd and all that. But yeah, glad to be here.
Well, I know they would love you on the drink along. They'd be delighted if there was more people. I was in the comments, which was a good laugh, actually. People having lots of fun, as they always are, and joining in the chat. G-Doc, brackets Doc, to avoid confusion. Morning all, says he. Christoph, who features a lot in the drink along because he always sees the goals about a minute before anyone else for some reason. Don't know why. Ultra Wido, is the video the reference? Is the video title the reference? Brian, you're our resident muso on a Monday night. Can you answer that?
I like the but I'm not aware of that song. Apologies. I know you're a big fan, aren't you?
I'm a big fan, and people in the comments are getting it. Yes, Love is Stronger Than Death. One of their most loved songs. Played a lot at funerals and stuff for obvious reasons, but we're using it to celebrate the love. Celebrate the love that was very apparent during the game to our returning hero. So should we just crack on with the game then? Get on with that. Talk through some of these moments. All right. In that case, 1 minute. This is Ralston about to put in a cross, Stephen. I don't think I'm not sure what your position is on Anthony Ralston, but tell us where it is at the moment after that performance.
Yeah, I thought he done fine. I thought he was good. Certainly a great cross for the goal. And he's got that in his locker. He's got a decent delivery in his locker. I do think it's probably not a mistake, not a surprise that you didn't see as much from Nicholas Kuhn in this game because he didn't have the combination with Alistair Johnson, and that's where you see the drop off. I think when Ralston's in the team, but I thought he did fine, albeit against not a great opposition. So and a great header from Idah, who's drifted in from the back post. Motherwell defence completely sleeping though. It was really poor from their point of view, especially so early in the game. And the way they played was not great at all. And you can see why they had issues with their manager. Not making any excuses for the personal abuse he suffered, but they're not in a good place at the moment, Motherwell. But that was a good goal, good cross, good header.
It was kind of an innocuous looking cross. There didn't seem to be that much danger, but Idah created the space, and then, as we just saw there, great leaped and nutted into the far corner. David, is that the kind of header you used to score?
No, I was never really that good with the head or the feet or any other part of the body when I was playing football. But no, I think the build up to the goal was really good. I think Taylor played some nice passing down the left hand side. McCowan, he made some quite a few incisive passes. I think for cheers, Eddie. I think that probably McCowan's best game. I think one of his best games for a while. But yeah, it was a cracking header. As you say, he found a bit of space. And, typical Idah, he scores the difficult one and misses the easy header later on in the half.
I see some people in the comments kind of jumping ahead to things that we're going to discuss, but that's probably my fault for not outlining the menu, del dia. Motherwell game, first of all, and then we'll get on to some of their refereeing and VAR decisions. Number 3 is the puerile, pathetic punditry. I'll leave you to guess who we're going to be discussing there. And finally, whatever there is to talk about in transfers. I don't know if anyone has their phone in front of them with alerts coming in throughout the hour that we're on, but that might be fun. So we're definitely going to get on to the punditry, but for now we'll just keep going through the moments of the game, I think, and there was plenty of them. It's very entertaining. 22nd minute, hopeful ball into the box by them. We talked about our ball being a kind of hopeful, lofted ball. They put this ball in and disaster ensued. Brian,
Thompson,
your friend.
So that guy, he looked a decent enough kind of player. He's on loan from Arsenal. So he had a couple of chances early on with corners. But he lofted the ball in, and Luke Armstrong, the drummer out of Napalm Death, was there to pick up on the trusty sort of knockdown one for the kids there. He looks very much like a Viking. I would buy him just to have him, just bring him on for 10 minutes and kick people.
Yes.
But no, they again, that was their last shot was 30 minutes. But yeah, caught out. But sure, it is what it is.
It's funny. My experience of watching this game was I missed the first 2 goals. I started watching it, and then Idah scored quite early into my watching it. So then I sort of watched the whole game, and then this morning I caught up on the stuff that I missed. And I couldn't understand why Trusty was getting it so much in the neck, because everything I had watched up until the goal, I thought he was not too bad. He did plenty of things right. And then finally, when the goal happened, it all made sense. But apart from that, Stephen, he wasn't outrageously poor, was he?
No, I thought it was okay. I'm surprised no one's mentioned the foul on CCV though, which a clear push in the back. And I can't believe that goal was allowed to stand, to be honest with you. I heard Chris Sutton blethering in commentary about he has to be stronger, but I'm not quite sure. I mean, I'm no physician, I'm no physicist, sorry. But I'm not quite sure how you can be stronger when you get pushed while you're in the air. I'm not quite sure what strength has to do with that, but it was a clear foul. Having said that, I think Trusty has got to be maybe a little bit more alert and expect that ball to come through to him. So he was caught on his heels a little bit, and the ball breaks to the centre forward. But apart from that, I thought the defence was fine. I thought both of them had reasonably good games, albeit again, I don't think they were up against much. But yeah, I don't think it wasn't much of a shove, but it was still a shove. And when you're jumping for a header, even the slightest shove is going to knock you off balance, and that's what happened. So it was definitely a foul.
Oh, it wasn't much of a shove, says Monty. I mean, it wasn't much of a shove, really, was it? I mean, I take your point, but you couldn't really see that much of a push. Everything you saw was in the reaction.
It doesn't have to be much of a shove. It just have to be the slightest nudge when you're in the air. Going for a header is enough to throw you off balance. Anybody who's played football will tell you that. And you've got to ask yourself the question, is he trying to play the ball, the striker? No, he's not. He's played the man and he's pushed him under the ball. So, like, the way the game panned out, we won fairly comfortable. So it's probably not a hill anybody's going to die on. But for me, it's a clear foul.
Yeah, it's certainly an arguable one. That's for sure. And as Ian says here, seen them given, particularly against us.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So then Wurzel Gummidge, as he's been referred to in the comments, managed to get that goal in. Were we all fans of Wurzel Gummidge as youngsters? I was massive. I loved it.
Freaky.
Cup of tea, rice, cake, and Sally.
Mr.
Croman.
A bit like Savile there, Gav. Wurzel Savile.
All right. I used to love when he changed his head. To me, that was just
Yeah.
pure magic.
I
When he
hated
put on
that.
his new head,
Freaky
that
ass.
to me was the best
at it.
special effect I've ever seen.
Look at it, all those shows through the context of what we know now, but they all just seem a little bit creepy, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely creepy. All right, moving on. 28 minutes. Hatate. Oh, this is the ball. This is the second goal. Is it?
McCowan lays it off to Idah.
Yeah, this is Hatate to McCowan. His first time, beautiful touch to Idah. I'm showing these because everybody played a part in this goal. Everything that happened was really sweet from the Hatate pass forward. But McCowan's was really the key to unlock it, I think. And then Idah crosses and a lovely finish by Adam Idah.
Good to see it.
Dave,
Good to see it.
David, do you want to talk us through this? Where are you on the Idah bus?
I think he's taken his chance. I think he did well against Villa. Led the line well yesterday. I thought that it was a really good team goal. The only person that wasn't really there in that shot was McGregor. And really, for me, in the first half, McGregor had a very poor performance. If you look back to the first goal, it was him misplacing a 5-yard pass that could only go to their player that led to the goal. I thought he was very poor yesterday in the first half. Came on to his game, but Hatate, always looking to pass forward, incisive passing. McCowan, lovely touches. Idah was man of the match by a mile yesterday. And it was a brilliant team goal. And I think last week, Gav, you were saying that Idah was a bit lucky with his first goal against Villa because it bobbled and that somehow helped him. I think this one, the ball came at him at a fair pace. And I think he actually did quite well to control it and put it in the net. It was a wee bit harder than it looked, to be fair.
Yeah, no, he did very well. I'm a big fan, and I think he did very well for the other goals. I wasn't suggesting that without the bobble he wouldn't have scored, but it just gave him a little bit more elevation. So I'm not going to walk that one back. However, I think, Stephen, it's only fair that I should point out that since I nailed my colours to the Hatate outmast, he has been very good consistently, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has been good. He's put together a couple of good games in a row, which is something he hasn't been able to do in the past. And I thought he was excellent again yesterday. He was spraying the ball around really well, and he also got stuck into a few tackles. So he showed a bit of physicality in the midfield, and I think that's something that's often missing with Hatate. When the midfield turns physical, he tends to disappear. So I think he did well in that facet of the game yesterday. And Idah's goal, great centre forwards goal, makes a front post run, gets in front of the defender, anticipates the ball coming in, and it was a brilliant little layoff from Cowan. A really controlled little soft pass through to Idah. So really good goal.
Yeah, it was very pleasing. And we nearly followed it up, didn't we, Brian, with another? Look, from this still, you wonder, how did that not go in? Talk us through it.
He pretty much 50p head, a bit like myself playing football, over the bar. But, he scored worldy, but he missed the easy one. I can't complain.
Well, the ball was bouncing up, wasn't it? And it was that momentum that took it over the bar, David, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this is one I was saying earlier on where he made a fantastic header for the first goal, but this one, it looked a bit easier to miss. So fair play to him.
And that was the moment there. Look, you can see CCV in the background, Stephen. He thought it was going to be a goal. And you see, there's even an advert there. One of Axom's contributors is advertising in the background.
John Hughes.
Yeah, I think I would, that still there makes it look like a sitter, but it was a very difficult chance. It came at him really quickly and came through a forest of bodies, as the as the terminology goes. So he would have done really well to get anything on that at all, given the pace on the cross.
Yep. Okay, we'll carry on then. Just another few incidents here. Don't know if we'd want to talk about Luke McCowan's theatrics. This was a penalty that wasn't given. Stephen, I suspect you're going to have a list of grievances. Is this among them?
Nah. I looked at this hard at the time, really searching for a reason to say it was a penalty, but it wasn't a dive. It was just two players challenging for the ball, and the defender got in front of him. So not a penalty.
Yeah, we complain when they don't make a meal of it sometimes. Yeah. And we've had a couple of incidents here of our players throwing their arms up and maybe or maybe not having been fouled. Okay, so we'll move on. Idah threw on 48 minutes. Oh yeah, he gets this ball across, Brian, do you remember? But Idah doesn't quite get to it. The defender's in the way.
This isn't the own goal, Gav, is it? No.
No, this is just a moment that came to nothing, I think.
You can see that. Just go back to that one, Gav, if you don't mind. Do you see McCowan making that run into the box there? He picked the wrong pass, Idah, because by the time he gets to the ball and crosses it, McCowan's right on the penalty spot, completely unmarked. And if Idah picks him out, he's picking the spot in the goal. So I think that that was just a bad cross, because you can see there Idah's well marked. It's never going to get a clear shot away, but McCowan completely unmarked.
And then this is the moment when Idah gets through and is offside, I think, isn't it? Hatate ball, lovely ball from Hatate. Yeah, and then Idah squares it, and the defender puts it in his own goal. Now, David, talk to us about this.
Well, I wasn't sure if that was Hatate or Ingles, but certainly when you saw the line itself was very dodgy. You know, you sort of red and blue lines, and it really, I couldn't see that was obviously offside.
Was that not red, white, and blue lines, David? No.
Yeah, exactly. It was a fantastic pass. It looks like Idah's kind of timed his run quite well, and then he's done what he's been doing the last couple of weeks. He's sort of putting himself about and causing a bit of chaos and panic in the defence. So for me it was a cracking goal, and it should have stood.
Look how tight it is. It's Lodge vision, I think, is what Ian's trying to say there.
I think there was a tweet on the Celtic Underground, and it said that's only offside if you want it to be, because you can see there that the two players are level, and when they draw those little perpendicular lines to see where the furthest point of contact for the player is, that's all done manually by the VAR official. Mm-hmm. So he can draw them wherever he wants, right? And if you have a look at the one, he's actually drawn it from Idah's elbow, but he's drawn the one for the Motherwell player's shoulder. So, it's a split second between, either or. And even at that, you can't tell. It's far too close to call. We don't have the technology available to make that call. So for me, that should be let go. We're always told the attacking team's supposed to get the benefit of the doubt. There's no way you can definitively say that was offside based on the manual, the way that they do the VAR, the way that they draw the line. So for me, that goal should definitely have been given.
Those are the two things that Peter, to be perfectly honest with you, Grant was talking about in the commentary. He was saying VAR is supposed to be for clear and obvious errors, and apparently if it isn't clear and obvious, it's meant to favour the striker, as you just said there, Stephen. So
yeah,
that was a rather irritating one.
John Beaton on VAR.
Yeah. But anyway, it'll just fall by the wayside and nobody will kick up a big stink and we'll be forgetting about it and moving on, won't we?
I'm sure we'll mention that again at some point.
Here's something that didn't get a mention. What's Greg Taylor doing with this guy here? Why would you have your arms so far round a player on a corner?
Maybe he's
You're
giving
just
it a
with
bit of love.
well, with the referee and doing what it was doing that day. You know, you're asking for trouble here.
And the referee had just spoke to the two of them. The referee had just pulled them aside before the corner and said, right, enough, because they must have been doing it beforehand. So that was really, really dumb from Taylor. And I wouldn't have been surprised if he'd gave a penalty. I don't think it was a penalty. I think the two of them were grappling at one another, but you're giving the referee an opportunity to award a penalty there, and I'm surprised he didn't.
Lost in Bangkok, quite correctly, does point out, however, that Taylor had a great game yesterday. I would agree with that.
Yeah, he had a very good game.
Alrighty then. Well, let's hand over another refereeing decision to Brian then. This is the high challenge on Ralston. Are you reading me, Brian?
I am reading you, but I thought you were going to line me up for the Kuhn overhead kick. No, I didn't see it, but from looking at it, it looks quite, where his head is right, his left knee there, isn't it? So
there's no clear picture of this. No one showed it in any of the replays. I looked for tweets and stuff, but at the time you were just waiting for the yellow card, and it didn't happen. David, what were you thinking?
It's one of those ones where the defender's trying to clear it, and the attacker's left his boot in. I didn't really see a huge amount in it myself, I must admit, but it's one of those ones you quite often see the attacker getting booked for it.
Kalmack looking like David Turnbull there, see him, Stan Laurel. Oh,
I think Stephen's itching to jump in and point out the various elements of this that make it a terrible foul.
Yeah, it's because he's actually airborne, as you can see. So he's the very definition of out of control.
Yeah.
And he's came right through the player, and he took in his leg. The ball's well gone already. You could see there. So it was when it happened at the time. I just assumed it'd been a yellow card, and I waited to see if VAR was going to upgrade it to a red, but not even a yellow, farcical. And Ian's spot on there. It was absolutely ripping out that referee. That's
an interesting expression. It was ripping out of that referee. Can you elucidate, Stephen? What does that mean?
Well, you say it was clearly obvious that he was of a Rangers persuasion.
Or as Monty puts it, the referee was a tangerine. I think that's what the emoji is. There's Angelo. Hello, Angelo. We are all well. Good to see you. And Big Des. Lots of people joining us just now. How you all doing? All right, so we're in the second half now. And Luke McCown had a shot in 58 minutes. Didn't really trouble the keeper. But good position to get into. Idah to Kuhn now. Kuhn is offside. Brian, this is the one you wanted me to talk to you about. So this is... Go on, take it away.
Anybody who's watched Escape to Victory, an overhead kick should never be disallowed. You know what I mean? It's a thing of beauty. It should. The football, football it's an art, and that Kuhn was like Picasso there, just beautiful. It should deserve. I mean, why? I know there's rules and stuff, but they shouldn't be.
Bloody it's getting in the way.
I've seen them given. If he was wearing a Rangers top, it'd be given.
Well, there's no question he's offside, so I don't know how we can.
Well, I don't know. I'm not really sure about that though, Gav, because if there's no lines drawn, we weren't showing any lines, and if you look at when you did look along the line, there was a guy, I think the Motherwell right back was sitting fairly deep, but he wasn't in the field of vision of the stand side linesman. So I would like to have seen the lines drawn at least for that one.
I thought you were being facetious there. No, you're being serious. Okay, the right back that we can see in the picture, the top of the screen.
Yeah. bearing in mind the ball's already left the player's foot by that point. And the guy's stepping out.
No, it wasn't Idah that was offside. Oh no, that was the previous one I think Angelo's referring to. Yeah. Ian says we did see the lines, but the ball being played wasn't in the shot. Interesting.
I mean, if we may have saw the lines, I may have missed it because my my BN Sports feed decided to start buffering, and it was almost unwatchable for a period of time. But I didn't see the lines drawing. If the lines were drawing, then I withdraw my previous comment.
Let the record show. Strike that from the register. 63 minutes. Idah shot, David. Is this one that hit the post?
The goalkeeper made a brilliant save onto the post. This was like the goalie scored about 6 weeks ago. You don't see it there, but he lets the ball run across him. It was quite clever the way he did it. It was another good pass to him, but he takes the defender out of the equation, runs onto the ball, and it was a cracking shot that the goalkeeper just got his fingertips to put it onto the post. Otherwise, that would have been another cracker for him.
Yeah, would have been. Now, David, we'll stick with you here because earlier you weren't sure if it was Hatate or Engels who played the through pass. This is the one that Engels did play through, which released Idah, which I think is maybe where the confusion arose. But absolutely gorgeous pass. Look at us, just left his foot here, and that's Idah at the top of the screen. So great vision, and he plays a strong pass like nobody else.
This is the one for the goal.
Yeah.
So just to be just to
No,
be
that's
awkward
it's
here.
not. It's not. It wasn't a goal. That wasn't. That it didn't end up in a goal. That one.
It did, because then he crosses for Jota.
Because
there was one before that then where he played Idah.
Yeah.
He played Idah in, and I think that was probably a better pass again than that one. So he had two. He had two in the second half.
That's why I was confused about Hatate.
I see. I take it back. I withdraw my previous comment, David. Please forgive me.
Do you think he meant it, Gav, or was he trying to shoot?
No, it was a glorious pass, of course. Only a fool would think anything other than that. All the evidence is there. Like
Actually,
with the previous
I'm not,
that you're referencing.
I'm not sure he was aiming for Idah.
You think he was passing for
Yang?
Yang on the right?
And right.
I thought it crossed my mind,
Yeah.
But it was too good of a pass for Idah and nowhere near Yang in the end.
Yeah, that's. I've seen the arguments both ways, but it was Maedah's excellent running that's made the best of it, whether he meant it 100% or not. And then of course, what a goal!
Engels was outstanding after he came on. I think we really, before he came on, we really missed what he brings to the team. And he's getting better with every game.
And of course, the ball then gets through to Idah, has a wee look up, doesn't go for the shot, squares it for the Hollywood moment that is Jota coming in to finish it. Brian, tell me that you were very emotional at this point.
I was very emotional, and it's been I'm not going to say it's been a long time since a player has put the shirt on, come on as a sub, that I was so happy. I've always been wanting Jota to come back, but Kyogo I thought was a wee bit on. He was, falling by the wayside a wee bit, and I'm delighted. I'm absolutely delighted Jota's back, and I think Idah is going to be unbelievable this season. Yeah, just great, written in the stars. But the thing about it is, he was in the right place, the right time, wasn't offside. Great goal and beautiful man, and I love him to bits. And it just sums up what we're all about. He's back home where he belongs. George Michael haircut class. I'm just so happy for him. I'm happy for myself as a fan that he's back. He's a lovely man, and I hope he stays. And I don't think he will, Dave. I think he'd be there for the full 5 years.
I thought I would put up a few heartfelt messages here. Unfortunately, I didn't read Ian's throughout. He says he had 2 tissues when the Jota goal went in, one for my eyes, one for dear oh dear, lowering the tone.
I mean, see if you take the emotion out of it completely, what Jota brought to the game in his 20-minute cameo was wonderful. He just looked really, really good. He was taking his man on the outside. He was beating him on the inside and getting shots away. In fact, I think he ended up with more shots on goal than anybody else in the game after only being on for 20 minutes. And compare and contrast that to what we've been seeing from Lewis Palmer and Yang when they've been coming off the bench. So such a big difference. And it's great to have a player of that quality on the bench ready to step in. A couple of weeks' time, 100% he's going to start the game against Bayern Munich at home because Maidah's suspended.
He's eligible, is he?
Yeah, well, we still have to, once the transfer window finishes, we're able to make changes to our Champions League squad for that. I think we can make 3 changes. So you got to assume that Jota's going to be one of them. So another couple of weeks training and he'll be right up to speed for that. So really, really good to see him back and just a really, really great player.
Yeah, and apart from Jota, do we want to talk through any other individual appearances? We've mentioned already that Taylor had a good game, that Hatate had a decent game, particularly in the first half.
I thought Ralston was decent.
Yeah. Idah, very good again, as always.
I think Idah deserves a special mention again because off the back of his 2 goals down at Villa, he seems to have regained a bit of confidence, and some of his work today was just really excellent, and the goal he scored was brilliant. So it looks as if he's taken up the challenge set by Kyogo even, and certainly he's going to be the first choice striker. Regardless of what happens today, he's going to be the first choice striker for the foreseeable.
David, you want to jump in there?
Yeah, I was going to say I wasn't sure about his lack of celebration when he scored.
I'm not
saying his face was tripping him, but it just, I was thinking that, to get the goal that puts us in the league, in the lead, we might have get a bit more emotion out of him. I suppose, we can't have everyone showing Jota level of emotion, but at the same point of view, I thought he might have at least had a wee smile. But
do you want a knee slide or something? Maybe
just a smile would have been nice.
Yeah. Well, he got pelters for going on the knee slide against Young Boys when he hadn't scored the goal. I think Gav was particularly critical of him for that. So you can hardly blame him, but he's worried about over celebrating. He's maybe thinks he's obviously he's been listening to Gav and he's concerned about his level of celebration. So he's putting too much thought into it.
He's waiting to get the goal ruled out. You know what I mean? It's like, sitting there going, yes, and then, oh shit, sorry.
Yeah. There might be something in that. I also think he's just, he means business. Did you see his post-match interview where he was like, he kind of speaks in a very dull way as well. But if you listen to what he's saying, it's quite emotive. He was saying, I want to be the main man. I want that pressure. But he delivers it in that sort of really dull, kind of Dublin way, Brian. And
he's actually from Cork, Gav. So don't let anyone in Cork
he's from Cork, is he?
Making that mistake. Yeah, he's from
Cork. He doesn't sound like he's from Cork.
I thought he was from Dublin. Yeah. There we are.
No, he's 100% from Cork. One of our own.
Well, sometimes it takes a vacuum to be created for a player to fully shine and develop and fill that vacuum. We've seen it several times. When Jota went, O'Reilly flourished. There was nobody left. I suppose when O'Reilly left, there was a vacuum and we needed a star, and up stepped Nicholas Kuhn. And maybe with Kyogo gone, that's exactly what Idah needs. He's now the main man. For the first time in his life, he's got that responsibility. Never had it at Norwich, didn't get a sniff, was playing under fans' favourite Kyogo the whole time. What do you think of that, David?
Yeah, I think he's taking his chance. Everyone wants all the Celtic players to do well. No exception. I think he has struggled with the 9 million price tag. It does show he's a bit like Idah. Sometimes it seems like the ball just bounces off him. And the other one, like for his shot that hit the post today, he's clearly controlled the ball well, placed it, and showed a lot of skill. So it's just a little bit probably the inconsistency. So if he's going to play more regularly, that might help him. It should help him a lot. I'm still hoping for a new striker, and by the end of this podcast, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think let's be clear that is a must, because at the end of the day, injuries happen, suspensions happen. With some of the hammer throwers kicking around the Scottish game, you never know when he's going to take a sore one. And if he were to take a sore one and we don't sign a new striker, then I think we've got a bit of a problem, because I'm not buying the Idah through the middle at centre forward thing. You're on mute, Gav.
Sorry, stepping up. It's great to see a lot of people are mentioning that. It's all about confidence. All right, then. So that's the players and the individual performances talked about. Let's move on to the refereeing then and the VAR. We went through all the moments in the game. But is there anything we want to say in summation about that, Stephen? There's such a long list of poor decisions, bad VAR interpretations.
Yeah, shocking, I think really. There was two aspects to the officiating. One, that the on-field referee was absolutely useless and gave us nothing. He allowed some really, really agricultural challenges from Motherwell players without showing any cards. And again, he ignored, for me, a clear foul on Cameron Carter-Vickers for the Motherwell goal. And the other aspect was the VAR officiating. And I don't know whether to put that 100% on the individual operating the VAR, or whether the technology we're using is just so poor. In the interim period, until we can get a proper VAR and afford to get the proper one that they use in England and in the European competitions, because the difference is stark. And until we get that, then we really should be relooking at how we referee these, or how we look at these sort of really tight and marginal offside decisions, especially ones like we had, because as we spoke about, there's no way you can tell if that's offside or onside. It's level, and it's just depending on where you draw the little lines down from the player. So I think that was really, really poor. But whether it was having John Beaton on VAR, there is a suspicion that he's been behind it. But I think it's probably more the technology.
But we haven't come out and criticised. The last time Brendan criticised, he got a 1-match ban. What do we do? We need to say something, because you don't want to call out decisions, and when you're losing, then now's the time to call them out. So I believe, but it's absolutely shocking. Officiating at the SPFL.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's much to be gained by the club calling that out, though, because all the response from Willie Collin will just be, well, there it is on the screen for you. There's your lines. There's it's offside. But it's a deeper debate you would have to get into regarding how we're using the technology available to us. And I don't think that's something we should really be getting into just now. We won the game and we move on. And thankfully, up to now, we haven't had so many bad decisions this year that have cost us any games. We haven't did anything up to the standard of what Brendan did get the ban for criticising the display by the ref at Tynecastle last year when Yang gets sent off for a high boot. We haven't had anything approaching that level of refereeing, and I think we can be happy enough with that.
I'll tell you what else we're happy enough with. We're closing in on 400 live viewers, would you believe, on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. So, hello, if you're joining us for the first time, pay heed to the ticker below for all the marvelous reasons why you might want to subscribe Monday and a Thursday. Nobody owns us. There's no intrusive YouTube adverts. Various reasons. There's no point in me listing them all because there are many and various. But don't take it from me. Listen to one of our Italian viewers.
Ciao ragazzi. I cannot believe how great a Celtic world is. Magnificent. It's very important to subscribe. Everybody do it immediately. Okay.
So our thanks to Gianluca for leaving that recording for us to use. All right. Well, let's move it on. So the image of the game was Jota in tears, right? Heartwarming. He's back. He's had a tough time, obviously, overseas, been in the football wilderness. Not tough in terms of finances, but, there's more to life than that. Anyone with a heart would have watched that and found it, a touching moment. Isn't that right? Who wants to start on this? David, why don't you come in and tell us about... What comments did you hear, by the way? Because I didn't hear them all. I don't think you did either.
Yeah, so for me, I think McGeady was the one that was more out of order than Boyd. I wasn't sure if you were going to use in your usual sort of music analogies, The Cure, Boys Don't Cry. But, I think that for me, McGeady was definitely much more vocal, immediately after he started crying. The only thing I heard Boyd really say was that, that the only thing that Idah had missed from his pass was the hankies, which, it was an attempt at humour. It wasn't quite as bad as the stuff that McGeady was coming out with. In my day we didn't cry and stuff like that. But it's irrelevant. We know all the issues about mental health, and it really was, it was a poor show. But I think, as you say, the Boyd one about the hankies was an attempt at humour, but I think the McGeady one wasn't good for me.
A lot of tumbleweed, David, whenever that went across.
Yeah.
Ellie Barber and McFadden were sort of shaking their head. But there's always an arsehole about the place when you need one, and Chris Boyd does that, perfects that role very good. McGeady, he's weak. Well, can't stand him, never liked him. Had an opportunity to get his autograph, and I blanked him. Myself and a couple of boys were over at Celtic Parma pre-season friendly. Met Vinegar, Hesselink, Boric, Hartley, Scott Brown, and I just seen him walking out, the wee dick, going into his Audi TT, and I just thought, F you, I'm not going to ask for your autograph or picture. But no, just a real nothing player, McGeady, whatever. Yeah, I just do one. Especially in local football where I come from, and Gav, there was a footballer who unfortunately did suffer the mental health and went through with it, but it shouldn't be laughed at ever. It's just that's not what we do in my day. Well, your days about 30 years ago, you prick. You know what I mean? It's really just people need to talk and help each other. And I look back to the thing you did with Clark Carlisle, or the gentleman that was on, the Clark Carlisle podcast, one mental health podcast you did, Gav. It's not good. It's really, I would get him to him. I would have McGeady out the door if I was anyone to do with Sky. And again, like anything else, it'll be just laughed off. But it was shocking. It was as bad as racism, as far as I'm concerned.
There's quite a lot of background noise coming from someone. I'm not sure who it is, but is there someone talking in the background where you are? No? Don't know what I'm picking up there. All right. Well, let's have a look at what some people said before we come back to Stephen for his comments. These are a few tweets. Vicky Trotter: to hear male commentators and pundits shaming Jota for showing emotion is just disgraceful. All these mental health campaigns about it being okay for men to show emotion and cry, yet he was shamed twice, both during the game and then in the studio, by Chris Boyd. Logan McIntyre says they should be ashamed of themselves. What sort of a message does it send out? It's disgraceful given that Boyd's own brother died from suicide. The Muppet professes to be a mental health ambassador. Needs a reality check. And this is from Boyd's mental health charity website. He talks about all the difficulties that can arise when you're playing overseas, which is quite interesting. And then finally, life is not a bed of roses for sports personalities as much as one you believe, whatever that means. With this charity, I want to aim to end the stigma with sports and mental health. Stephen, do you think this is a storm in a teacup, or is everybody quite right to call out the pundits on Sky treating this lightly and joking and about it?
Yeah. I think we're right to call it out. I would agree with the guys, with David and Brian. I'm not too concerned with anything that Chris Boyd has to say. We've been through this before with Chris Boyd, and he's just trying to be the poor man's Chris Sutton. And I think he goes to bed at night watching Chris Sutton videos and try to learn how to do it properly. And one day he might get there. But he's just a daft Hun, and Huns are going to Hun. So I wouldn't expect anything less from him. It doesn't surprise me what he's come away with. He is a disgrace, but he's always been a disgrace, and he just shows you what he really thinks about mental health. It's all just for show with him. And when it comes down to a Celtic player potentially going through some tough times, then that doesn't count. So next time he talks about mental health, we'll know he doesn't really mean it. But in terms of McGeady, yeah, just an arsehole. Just a wee guy who, in my opinion, always thought he was better than Celtic. He always thought he was too good to play for Celtic. Attitude problems, left, right, and centre. Fell out with multiple people at the club. Had a physical altercation with Neil Lennon. Another physical altercation with Artur Boric. A verbal stoosh with Gordon Strachan. Ended up going away to Russia to make some money, and ended up having a fairly sort of average sort of career. Obviously a wealthy young man, but no class at all, and just showed his true personality there. So really poor from both of them. But I'm more annoyed at McGeady, who's supposed to be have connections with the club and should be a lot more sympathetic.
Well, as long as Jota knows how much he's thought of by the Celtic fans, and it is great that he's back home, and it's all a big love-in, at the moment. I mean, it's all in the context of it being football and a business, and, it could all be very different if a big offer comes in, etc., etc. We've seen it with players that we love just disappearing. But a bit like romantic love in life, Brian, it's fleeting, it's ephemeral. Let's just enjoy it while it's here before it turns stale.
Yeah, we all need to be very grounded. Who says
it's good to talk, Gav? We're always available if you need to talk.
It reminds me of a joke. I remember somebody said, I went to see Schindler's List last night, and you'll need a box of tissues. And then apparently there was no scene down like a lead balloon. It was just great to have him back. He's just a couple. Is he going to go down to the Brazen Head again? I just love he's totally bought in 100%, and I'm bought into it, and I'm going to fucking have the love in. And he might break my heart again. It probably will, but I'm going to enjoy every minute of him being there. He's just a great guy, and he's a Hun scalper as well. He scores in the big occasions. He's the salute and all that, but he is a big game player. He scored against Real Madrid. Pete McGee for the meter.
I mean, we all do love Jota, wonderful guy and a great player, but I'm not too sure about his haircut. Now, I'm probably not the best man, to comment on modern trends in here. Probably none of us are here, I would suggest. But I don't know, maybe a little trim. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, my son's got a bit of a Jota haircut going on just now, so I can't really say too much about that one. But I guess that's the thing with these youngsters. They don't go for the short back and sides like they used to.
Yeah, it might just be jealousy.
There's a couple of sort of mentions of that to come later on as we get into some of the Celtic socials, actually. But we're up to 50 minutes, so we should move it on. Transfers. Matthias Kvistgård, Brøndby are currently in a warm weather training camp in Faro. Brendan had some strong post-match words, so you wonder if the private jet from Faro tomorrow has anything to do with that. I love it when people are watching the air traffic to see if there's any flights that could match up. But this is one that has rumbled on for ages. Plenty of ups and downs. Sometimes it looks strong. Sometimes it looks like it's all over. Is this going to cross the line before 11 p.m. tonight? David, yes or no?
I'm usually very optimistic when it comes to all things Celtic, but when it comes to the last day of the transfer window, I'm not particularly confident. In saying that, I remember when the last day of the transfer window when we got Robbie Keane, and I let out a scream, and she said, "I wish I could get you that excited." So I am hoping that we can, first of all, hoping that she's not listening, and secondly, that we can get a marquee signing in the next few hours.
Yeah. Does anyone think it's going to happen, or what does anyone else think will cross the line before the end of tonight? Anyone got any hope to give us?
I don't think there'll be anything today. I think that's it. I think we're done. I think they'll probably try and maybe get a couple of loan deals across the line, maybe. But for me, it's far too late in the day, and it's been an absolute shambles of a transfer window, considering the players we've lost and the players we haven't added. No one's been, Kyogo's not been replaced. Alex Fai's not been replaced in the squad. And it just really sums up the incompetence of the people negotiating these transfers. And I would really love to know who signed off on allowing Kyogo to leave without having a replacement already in the building. If you cast your mind back to round about the summer transfer window when our very own Jerry broke a rumour that I'd heard that Kyogo was looking for a move, and the club were happy to facilitate that if they get a replacement in for him. And that was 6 months ago, and we haven't done a thing about it. So there's no excuse for the situation we're in just now. Obviously, I can't see Fitzgarden coming now. I think that ship is sailed, and I think we're all fed up hearing that kid's name. I really hope he goes and signs for somebody else, so that we don't need to keep talking about him come the summer window. And the disappointment for me is that one of the big aspects of the January transfer window is not really for the rest of this season, but it's for next season too. And we have a Champions League qualifier to negotiate almost right at the start of next season. And I was hoping to see some signings in January with a view to us negotiating that which is always a tricky two-legged tie early in the season. So hasn't happened. Can't see it happening just now. I could be wrong. I hope I am. I hope there's some work. Brendan keeps going on about all this work that's going on in the background, but there doesn't seem to be any sign of any of this work going on, and it's disappointing all round. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I just can't see it.
Disappointing all round. That also ties in nicely as an explanation of this new hairstyle that is sweeping the nation, or not the nation, I don't know. Anyway, I came across this thing and I'll show you some pictures of it. It's called the circle beard. Have you heard of this, Brian?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yes.
Brutal.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Kaiser
Here we
needs to
go.
get it. Kaiser needs to do one. Oh,
this
geez,
is the circle beard. Got a few examples of it. Is this tickling your fancy at all, Stephen?
Yeah, I'm having a look at that there. I got that. Oh, yes.
There's
Very,
Sebo,
very sharp, isn't it?
Philip Sebo there, isn't it? Oh, there he is. There he is.
If you're looking directly from the front, it might look all right, but any other angle, it's
ridiculous. No matter what way you look at it. Come on.
That's not actually a thing, is it?
It is a thing.
In what way? In what way is it a thing?
The double
That's porn
Amish.
to me, apparently. Yeah, the double Amish.
I don't think that one's going to catch on.
Hopefully.
Oh, there's the comment of the day from Typhoon McFlustery.
Looks like someone being born. Old canoe reference there.
Very good. What else did we see on social media this week? Just to round off the show, a couple more things for you. Oh, this was from a tweet, Frankie, made by Frankie. This season, I set myself a wee personal project aim of creating a match poster for each of Celtic's Champions League group stage games. Here they are. They're pretty cool, aren't they? You see that?
Really good.
Yeah.
Very retro looking.
Yeah, they look like retro programs, don't they?
So, you know, the Celtic Ajax 1982 program, Cruyff, the front of it, I've got it knocking around. I'll send a picture into the group, but it's very, very retro.
Very nice to see the people in the comments are still enjoying those haircuts and making references to what it looks like, some of which are unrepeatable. So there's just one last haircut thing I think I had to show. Oh, yeah. This one. This is from Paul. Linda here says, has Jota returned to find a decent hairdresser? Surely the money he's earned, he could afford one anywhere. As long as it's not the same hairdresser as you, Linda, he'll be fine. So that's quite
I never understand why people with profile pictures of their own heads go all over social media to criticise anything about anyone else's head. You know, unless you're absolutely sure that you're a bloody good-looking person. And that's a perfect example of why you should never do that.
Someone's asking for me to post a link. Big Dez is saying post a link. Do you mean to these things here? I'll show you what I've got. Made by Frankie. If you find him on, I think that's Blue Sky, is it? Can't remember. I just screen saved that. But anyway, you should be able to find it. If not, I'll put a link up on Twitter to it. I don't know if you follow us there, Des, but you should. That's for sure. All right. I think that just about does it, gents, for today's show. Any closing thoughts from you, Brian?
I think, I mean, I know we always get the anxiety around the transfer window, but we also have to remember CCV and Jota part 1 happened on the last few minutes of the transfer window, as did Bernardo. So I'm hoping Brendan's black book is open. I'm not saying he's going to get Jamie Vardy or your guy Idah Nacho, but you know, we definitely need a left back. We need a left back, and we need. He said all along, I want to come into this, leave the transfer window better place than we left it, or you know, we want to be stronger than, and currently we're not. However, there's 7, 8, 10 hours left. Was it finished at 10 o'clock tonight? Is it, or midnight? Or?
It's 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock UK time.
Yeah, there's a lot to be done between now and then. I think Lennon Miller will come in. I really do. I think he's going to come in. And left back, he'll pull something out, pull a rabbit out of a hat somewhere.
What if we don't? David, what's the rest of the season look like?
We'll still win the league by 15 points. We might make it a tiny bit more tricky in the Scottish Cup. But it looks as if we don't buy anyone, then it's basically telling the fans that, you know, we exceeded our expectations by getting to this stage in the Champions League, and we're not bothering wasting any more money. So, I mean, domestically, I think on Wednesday, I think we'll win 6-0. I think we'll be quite comfortable. In the short term, we've got plenty of space. Yesterday was a really important result to keep the gap between us and the Huns, but domestically will be fine. But you know, as Stephen said, I think we need to be looking forward, getting ready for next season, getting ready for the qualifiers. But in the short term, 6-0 on Wednesday. Idah hat-trick.
So it could be worse. Well, hopefully there is some good news by the end of today, and we'll be back to talk about it all on Thursday's show. So until then, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Thanks, of course, to everyone in the comments. As always, very entertaining chit-chat. 12 and a half hours to go, Des says, so plenty of time to do some damage there. Get a few across the line. That's what I would say. Thank you for the good energy, says Christophe. Je vous en prie. All right, everyone. Until next time, all the very best to you. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.